Hello everyone and welcome to Makeover Monday 2023 week 23. In this Watch Me Viz session, you're going to do just that, Watch Me Viz. I'm going to be looking at data this week from the city of Melbourne, and we're going to look at the original visualization really quickly, but then we're going to dive into the data and I'll show you how I explore the data before coming up with a final visualization that I like. If you're new here, my name is Andy. I am the global head coach of the Data School, and I create lots of content every week, so make sure you click on subscribe. And if you like this video, or if you enjoy if you learned something, let's say in this video, please leave me a comment, and don't forget to like the video. That'll help other people find it too. I am monitoring the Q&A on here as well, so feel free to leave questions or comments or anything else you have. And yeah, so again, my name is Andy. Sorry, I realized my camera wasn't on. And we're going to get going here. So if you have any questions along the way, just leave them in the chat and I'll get to them. So let me go ahead and hide my screen there. Okay, so here's what we're looking at this week. This is, so in the city of Melbourne, this is in Australia. And I picked this because I was just there, maybe 2 months ago, something like that. And I noticed how there's people walking everywhere. And this particular data set they have sensors throughout the city to understand where people are walking. And they use that to implement policies or traffic controls or more pedestrian crossings, maybe in pedestrian lights, different things like that, or even closing off streets. They use it as a way to do city planning. And so right now we're looking at data from January of 2019. I'm not going to worry about changing the date here, but you can see how the data changes throughout the day. So I'm not quite sure what's happening here with these lines that are growing. I think that's meant to be kind of like the larger the line is, the more people are actually walking there. So you've got kind of these sticks going up, but I don't understand why I guess they change throughout the day. That must be what it is. And then they change color as well. And if I look down on the bottom left, we can see that the yellow means above average by 10% or more. The white is average, and then the below average is the blue. So, and then the average is calculated from the same day and hour over the previous 4 weeks. Okay, so it's looking at a 4-week moving average and computing the data that way. So great, yeah, so pretty simple, relatively interesting, I guess. And let's go ahead and look at that data inside of Tableau. So I've already gone ahead and connected to the data. And the first thing I'm going to do is look at the different fields that are available to me. So in the original data source, we have the date and the time. It's broken down by hour. But then they've also provided it already broken down by year, month, and day. So year, month, day, weekday, and then time. The time being the hour of the day. So sensor ID. And what's going to happen here is if I don't know if this is going to work. Let's see if I don't think that actually scrolls in. But if I look here at year and day and time, Tableau, you might be able to notice those are green. So because those are numbers, Tableau is going to read those in as measures. Now we want those to be dimensions because we want them to split the view. We don't want to, for example, take the average of the year or something like that. So yeah, and if I scroll over, we have the sensor name, the description, when it was installed, location type. I think they're all outdoor. Which direction it's facing. So this must have east and west, and then the latitude and longitude. So let's go ahead and start digging into the data. I'm going to start by just trying to recreate the original visualization. So this is looking at January 2nd of 2019. So I'm going to right click and drag the date time, or actually down here in the bottom is my time field. So I need to drag that up and make that discrete. Okay, so Tableau actually did read year and day in. Okay, that's new to me. I would have thought it would have read those in as measures. Maybe that's some smarts they put in. Okay, so we're going to drag date time to the filters. I'm going to pick month, day, year, and then what did I say we're going to pick? January 2nd of 2019. So 2 Jan and then 2019. Okay, and then if I double click on latitude, double click on longitude, I'm just going to get a dot in the middle of the city, but I'm going to drag sensor ID onto detail because that's a unique identifier for each sensor. and we see something similar to theirs. Now theirs is 3D, which looks pretty nice. So what I can do now is put maybe the hourly counts on size, and we can see this is just a different way of representing what they did, what they're doing with that stick. So this is looking at over the course of the day. These are the counts. What I could do then is I could put the let's see, we don't have an hour field, so I'm going to right click on date time. I'm going to create a custom date, and I'm just going to call it hour. I want to use hours and then the date part. So if I drag that onto the not onto the filters, I want to drag that onto the pages. Let's see what happens here. So I'm going to click on the pages here, and let's let it play. And let's maybe do it a bit faster. Oops, hit play again. And let's see if it actually does it. Oh, let me stop. I want to make it play faster. Okay, there we go. So we could see the city kind of pulsing in and out. You can see, it's pretty obvious where, most people are walking around. So anyway, that's kind of the same idea with the original. Now, if I wanted to change the map background, so let's say I want to make it match this map here. So I'm going to look at the different map background layers. And inside of here, we do have a dark map. And that looks like it's probably the same map that they're using in Mapbox here. The only difference is Tableau is two-dimensional, so it lays everything on a flat plane. I don't really know a way to force that to be on a 3D scale, so I'm not going to really worry about that too much. So let me take that off of the pages, and maybe I'll make these, I'm going to make them maybe a bright yellow to make them a bit easier to see, something like that. Okay, and now we have the hourly counts for that particular day. So this is, actually, we don't really need to worry about that. I'm going to drag that field off the filters then. Let me close my background layers. And now we can see all of the hourly counts. So our biggest number is 1.146 million. So that's right here. But it just has a sensor ID. So let's put the sensor name on there as well. And so we can see the sensor name is Town Hall West. And then we've got Bourbon Street or Bork Street, North and South. Okay, so let's clean this up. I'm going to go to the sensor ID and uncheck Include in Tooltip. Do the same thing for the latitude and the longitude. Get rid of the Include in Tooltip. And now we can see each of the sensor counts, each of the sensors and what their count is over time. Let's make the dots a bit bigger. And now the problem is they're overlapping a bit. So I'm going to go to to color. And I'm going to reduce the opacity. Let's make it maybe like 50%, and we can see through them a bit better. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. Now, one of the problems here is sometimes it's hard to get the small ones. All right, see right here, for example, I can't click on that small one behind Melbourne Central. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort the sensor name by the field. And I'm trying to remember which way I need to do this. So I'm going to do hourly counts, sum, and then let's close that. And then okay, so I still can't click on it. So I need to probably sort it in descending order. And that should hopefully, okay, this still didn't work. All right, well, I was hoping it would bring that one to the front. What if I take sensor ID off of the view? Does that make a difference? No, it doesn't. I could have sworn that was how you would bring the dots to the front. Okay, well, that's not particularly, so same thing right here. I can't click on the one in the background. I know I've done this before. Let's see. I'm just going to try to remember how I did it. And unfortunately my toolbar is like all the way down here at the bottom. So let's see, sort marks on map. No posts. All right. Map sort. Okay, sorting marks on a map. All right, here we go. I think this is what I'm thinking of here. I want to bring the highest and lowest values to the front. Okay, so I look at profit. Okay. All right. There was a way I've done this before, I thought. Okay, maybe not. All right, I thought for sure that was how you did it. Boy, this website looks terrible with the whole banner missing down the right-hand side. I could have sworn that was how you did it. Let me try that again. We want to sort by the field, descending our counts. We're trying ascending. Let me switch it back again. Oh, there we go. Okay, so it has to be ascending, and now all the small ones are in the front. Okay, that worked. I wonder if I put a little border on these, what it would look like. Is that better or worse? I think that works a bit better. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, so this is my sensor. What are they calling it? Counts. Let me go back over here. What are they calling it? Pedestrian. Okay, so I'm just going to call this. I'm going to rename this as pedestrians. Pedestrians per sensor. Okay. Great. What else could we do here? So now I'm going to look at it over time. So let's just right click and drag the date time field. Let's look at it by maybe by year, because there's how many years? We've got 14 years in the view here. Pedestrians onto the rows, and we get dips here obviously for COVID, and then this one 2022 is not complete. It only goes through October, I believe. So yeah, so maybe we'll leave it maybe at the monthly level. And now what I'm going to do is let's call this counts per month. All right, and then if let's go back to our pedestrians per sensor. Let's go to our tooltip. Okay, and then I'm going to insert my sheet counts. Oops, insert my sheet counts per month. I want to get rid of those, and let's see what this looks like. Okay, so that gives us the values over time. So let me readjust the size of this then. So so what's a 16:9 ratio? So that would be 300 high by 16 divided by 3 is like 525. Oops. Something like that. Now we get a better ratio. Okay, so let's clean this up a bit. I'm going to, let's edit the axis and get rid of the title. Okay, we can probably get rid of this. Okay, and if I go back over here, is the tooltip, okay, the tooltip is white. All right, so let's drag the size as small as it'll go, and then let's make them black. Okay, so if we look now, okay, so that looks, we can now see there's definitely some kind of seasonality in here. In Newquay, Melbourne Central, let's see, State Library. Okay, so there's, you can definitely see the impact of COVID on that. And this one in particular, there must have been, maybe the sensor was out for a month or something like that, because we see that drop down to almost 0. All right, so that's our counts per month. I'm going to make the lines ever so slightly wider, maybe. A bit too narrow for my liking. Okay. I could roll this back up to the, let's see what it looks like if I do it by the hour. And let's see. So in this one, okay. Okay, so let me put that back to the way it was. All right, so now I want to understand maybe there's times of day that are, let's convert this to discrete. So this is, I think, is the week, no, it's the day number. So we don't need that one. Let's look at the weekday compared to the hour of the day. And then the pedestrians. I would assume there's going to be more during, during weekday times. So let's do fit width. We probably could just hide the nulls or just exclude the nulls. Hide the field labels. Okay, so we get something like that, which isn't particularly surprising. Let's put maybe a white border on that. And then I'm going to edit my color palette, default properties, color. I'm going to make it a, I think I have a palette that is white to black. Oop. Let's try that. Okay, there we go. So now we can see the patterns a bit better here. And to clean up this view a bit, I want to get rid of the borders going across the top. So I'm going to format my borders and get rid of my row dividers. Right. So I think that looks okay. Now so this is my by weekday by hour. And now I want to, let me just duplicate this sheet. Let's get rid of the weekday and put the pedestrians onto columns. And we can see it by the hour. I think maybe I need to put a border on these. Yeah, what if I put the border here? That might be a bit strong. Well, let's give it a go. Okay, so then we see most of them are on Fridays. Okay, and then this would be by weekday. This is going to look remarkably like what I did last week. And then this one, we want to look at it by hour. So let's drag pedestrian to rows, make it bars, and now we get it by hour. Okay, so this is just by hour. Okay, so I see there's a few of you on the live stream here. If you have any questions along the way, remember to leave them in the chat. And why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves? I cannot see who's online, so all I see is the number of viewers. So I'm curious to know who's on watching today. So yeah, please introduce yourselves. All right, so we've got those three options now. Okay, let's go back to the map view. And if I just do latitude and longitude, and then if let me change the, let's see, sensor ID on details. We're going back to our map view here, and let's make it a density plot and put pedestrians onto color. Yeah, so that doesn't do me any good. Okay, so let's color that one red. And I'm just going to name this density map. Okay. So what else could we do? I'm kind of running out of ideas already. We've got the okay, let's look at some, we could look at the location type, but I believe those are all just outdoor. Okay, so that doesn't help me much. We could try sensor name, and let's look at the pedestrian counts for those. Okay, now the problem now is we don't know how long some of these sensors have been in service. So what we want to do is, what I'm thinking is we want to get maybe the pedestrians per day. So we want to come up with a metric that's pedestrians per day. So we're going to create this as two different, let's see, should we create it as, let's say, days elapsed. So what we want to look at, hi Jen, nice to see you, and Peter, you as well. The sensors have an installation date, so it may skew your results. Right, so that's what I'm going to look at, Peter. So I want to look at the date diff at the day level. My start date is my installation date. Oops. And then my end date has to be the maximum date for each sensor. So I want to say fixed on sensor ID. I want to get the max date time. But I want to get the day of the date time. So max date trunk day of date time. Okay, and then that should have mustachio. Right, so let me explain what this is doing then. So we're trying to find the number of days that have elapsed between the installation date and the most recent day that a sensor has had an installation. So this calculation here, this is basically saying for each sensor ID, let me split this up into multiple calculations here so you can see what it's doing. This is saying for each sensor ID, so treat each sensor ID separately, or that's like a group by if you're familiar with SQL. We want to, and these calculations work inside out. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to, we're kind of aggregating the date time up to the day level. So this is now the, this is going to give me every day for each sensor ID, and then I'm going to take the maximum of all of those dates. Okay, so that's kind of what that calculation does. So that's just the days elapsed. So then what I want to do is I want to create another calculated field that's pedestrians per day. So this is going to be the sum of pedestrians divided by the sum of days elapsed. Okay, and then okay. And if we put that field on here instead, we get a different view, right? So let's sort this way. And now we get something different. So pedestrians per day. So this one, let's put days elapsed onto the tooltip. We can see that pedestrians per day, 2.688. That can't be right. Days elapsed 2 million. Okay, so I'm doing something wrong here with the, okay, let me bring the installation date onto the tooltip. Installation date is 2021, so my days elapsed is wrong. I think I did date diff installation date. And then I need to take the average of this whole thing. Let's see, is that right? So for each sensor, okay, I'm going to try this first. So let me go back here. Oh, this might have been a bad idea. Okay. And then I'm just going to put this calculation here. So for sensor ID 1, it's 10/31/2022. Let's go. Okay, and then if I take the, okay, so that's giving me the max. And then if I put the installation date on here, so now we want to get the number of days that have elapsed between those two dates. Okay, so we're going to look at the date diff at the day level between the installation date but the number is like way wrong. So let's put this onto here. 59,119. Okay, there we go. So this needs to be an average. Okay. All right, so let's go back to our sheet here. And now go to this and sort. oops, sort this. And South Bank has an average of 29,000 pedestrians per day. The days elapsed, this should be, no, we don't need that anymore. We don't need installation data anymore. Okay, so I think that's better now. Yeah, so oh, that's a good, so Peter, you make a good point. So I only want to count the number of days per sensor where there is data. So let me go back over here then. So really I want to do, oh, I could just, actually I don't even need to do days elapsed. I could just count the number of days. Yeah. So let's go back here, and then this could just be, instead of days elapsed, this could be fixed on sensor ID, count distinct of date, trunk, day of date time. And then that should be here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so slightly different here. So I was definitely overthinking that. So I was looking at how long it's been in service. But Peter makes a good point there that I really should only be counting the number of days where it's actually had a measurement. Now, the only downfall of that one is, I guess technically it could be where there was nobody that walked by that sensor in the day, but that wouldn't be in the data anyway. It wouldn't show up as null. It just wouldn't exist. So I think I'm going to go with this. So yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for that, Peter. So let me go back to, let me duplicate this map then, and let's look at our pedestrians per day on size instead. And we get a slightly different view. Pedestrians per day per sensor. Right, and then this is just the number of counts. So all this stuff is still valid. And then this one is junk. This one is just for, okay, so what I could do then is, I wonder if I did something like, I'm just curious if this is going to do anything. Let's look at the pedestrians per day compared to the count distinct of date time. I don't want to do that. I want to do the days, but then I want this to be a count distinct. And let's put the sensor onto detail. Yeah, so I was just looking at the number of days that it's been, that it has a measurement compared to the pedestrians per day. Okay, so there's nothing useful there. Okay, we could look at pedestrians versus pedestrians per day by sensor. That's probably going to give us a much stronger relationship. Okay, yeah, that makes sense, but that's not really particularly useful. So we've got the date, we've got the hour. What else could we do? Okay, let me pull up my couple of let me see here. So we could do something like this, like a radial histogram where it goes around the clock. That might be worth looking at. Let's see if I think I have notes somewhere for how to build that. So let me just check. But I think I need to join the data to itself. Radar chart, hex bin, triangle. Yeah, okay, this is what I want to do. So, okay, let's try to build something like this and just see what happens. So let's start with, we need to go to a new data source. And I want to bring the data in, and then I want to add it again. And I want to union it to itself. Wait, can I do that? Can I do it just with its own? Yeah, it doesn't let me do that. Can we not union extracts? Huh. So it's not letting me do a union. Let me close this. Yeah, I can't do a union on an extract. Well, that's really stupid. Okay, so I need to connect to the data itself, which I think I have on my downloads. So this might be a bit of a problem now because the data set is humongous. So again, what I'm trying to build is a, let me see, a chart like this. So if I look at Viz, or radial histogram. Okay, that didn't work. Oh. Okay, so we're going to look at building something like this. Okay, so let's give that a shot. So maybe actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to download this workbook, and I'll show you how I use this as like a template. Okay, well, first off, I need to finish my data prep here. So I've got this, and then I want to union it to itself. Come on. So this might take a while. But in this data source, then I'm going to go to my example, and let's go to this sheet and unhide it. So I've got a bunch of calculations here that I need down here. So I'm going to just copy all of these. So those are all the calculations. I'm going to copy those. And then once this is up and running, we'll see how it goes. Okay. So we're going to union the data to itself. Okay, and now let's go to our new sheet. Actually, I'm going to rename this to have the word union after it so I know which one is which. And then I'm going to paste all of my why didn't it let me paste the calculations? Okay, let me try that again. Copy, paste. Okay, now they're all broken, which is fine. So we want to edit this calculation. So instead of sales, this is going to be my hourly count. And then let's see, so let's show the parameter, show the parameter, show the parameter. And then okay, so edit. Okay, so the rest of this should all just flow. Okay, so what I want to do now, I'm just going to go back and forth here. So let's do radial X, radial Y, and then we want to have each of those is sort of splitting it up by region, table name. Okay, so I want to have the year field on my, I need to make this detail. I need to make this a dimension, or discrete, sorry. Okay, so I'm just going to do it like that for now. And then I want these to be lines. And my table name goes on the path shelf. Okay, so let's see what happens here. So now I need to configure the calculations. So let me edit the table calc. And I'm going to radial length, uncheck table name. Okay. So we want to uncheck table name. And then in radial angle, we want to uncheck table name. Okay. And then probably the same thing for the Y. Okay, yep. Okay, and then let's close that. Let's edit the Y and that. So we do it by year, by year. Okay, but now my path is not working here. Okay. What did I do wrong here? Okay. Maybe this needs to be continuous. No. Okay. So we're uniting the data to itself. Okay, why don't we try playing around with some of these options? Okay, so that doesn't do anything. All right, now why is this not working? Well, this is quite annoying. Let's see, so that's that. So every one of those is a year. Okay, let's try this. Let me try this one. Example, sheet 1. Okay. So month is checked. Month is checked. Month is checked. Month is checked. Okay, so that we should get something that looks like that. Okay, let me try something else then. Let's make this a date and time. Let me just reset these numbers. It's going to take a minute here. I don't know if we have this copy and paste feature from one workbook to another in public version 2. Nursa, I don't know. Yeah, I would just try it, see what happens. Yeah, I don't know why it wouldn't be available on Tableau Public, but it's interesting. They must do it differently. Okay, so I'm just going to reset these to be the same. So we've got 37, 1, and 4. Is that right? 37, 1, and 4. Okay, so now this should be computing using year. This should be computing using year. Huh. doesn't really matter. Yeah, so that didn't make a difference. I didn't think it would. This is super annoying. I mean, we don't need the absolute because they're all positive numbers. Oh, this is a problem here. So this is called, what's it called? Okay, now we've got it. Okay, so edit. Okay, that should fix it. Ah, there we go. Okay, so this is 2018, 19, 20, 21. So what we need to do now is we need to get the correct year at the start. So, okay, so I want to get rid of my null years. So I'm going to relative date, nope, special, no, I only want to keep non-null dates. Okay, so 2021, 22, 20, 2009. 10. Okay, so I need to, actually I'm going to put the year on the label. Okay, I'm just doing this so I can see them as they rotate around, because I think what happens is if I put this on like, 40, and I think adjuster is, we want to make a float. Okay, so let's make this like there we go. So now we can go circular around the view. So that looks kind of neat. Now what we could do if we wanted to is we could look at this over every quarter. So let's try that. Let's default properties. Create custom date. Call this quarters date value. So now if I put that here, I can just change these to use by quarter. Okay, and now I just need to rotate this again. So Q2, Q4, okay, so I would need, let me duplicate this first. And let me set this back to year. Okay. So I'm going to call this one radial year. That's nothing. Radial quarter. So I need to move this back the other way, I think, right? 40, let's make it 50. I went too far there, didn't I? 45. It's a bit fiddly. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that now gives it to us by quarter. So I can turn the labels off. Now let me just get rid of that. And if I put my hourly counts onto color as well, and we want to make this so the counts are going to be double what they really are. Okay, I need to test something here. So if I look at it by quarter, and let's make this discrete, and then hourly counts. So we get, okay, so that's, and then I want to check this data source. Let's do quarter, discrete, and then pedestrians. So 11 million, and then this one is 23. Okay, so I need to divide this by 2. So I need to divide it by 2 because I'm bringing the data source in twice. So we're going to do hourly counts divided by 2. Okay, so now I can delete both of those. What just happened there? Oh, because I've got the parameters in here. Radial field. Okay, so this should be, actually it's not going to matter if I use, I'll just use pedestrians. It doesn't really matter because it's going to get the same value. Okay, so now we could do, if we again go back to looking at our pedestrians per day, now that wouldn't change anything because I don't think it would. Let me just copy this and go back to that data source and paste. Okay, maybe it does. Okay, so let's put that here instead. Yeah, so that didn't change any of the colors. That's fine. What the heck? Oh, it's because it's all aggregate, non-aggregate now. Okay, let's go back. All right, so that gives us, so this is what? This is all years. This is every quarter. We could do something like, I mean, we could leave it like that, or we could maybe do a second option where it's like this, where we have maybe each year and then the, okay, let's try that. So we're going to do one more thing and then I need to get going. So we're now going to, okay, let's duplicate this sheet, and then I'm going to edit this. No, so that's still pedestrians, that's okay. But instead of year, I want to have, let's say we want to have the day of the year. Okay, this is going to actually, let me just filter down to 1 year first. I'm going to build this for just a couple of years, and then I'll bring all years back in. Okay, so I'm not worried about how this looks yet, but I want to bring in the day of year, the day, and then adjust both of these. Okay. Okay, let's get rid of the label here. All right, so we would need to, adjust the size of this. So, okay, we might need to maybe do it as, let's do it as week number instead. Okay, that's a bit better. And then let's see, July. Oh, I want it for just 1 year though. Edit filter. Okay. Let's see. And this might not be the best year to pick because it doesn't, we don't have every week in here. Okay, so let me edit this again. Okay. Right. So now this is giving me just the 1 year. So if I want to set this up to be something like this, but each of these is a year instead, I need to bring in my my columns, in the columns, my rows into the rows. And then I'm going to put the year, let's see, I want to put year onto detail. And now I'm going to bring in a couple of different years. All right, and now I need to set up my table calcs. So year, this shouldn't matter, but I'm going to rearrange them anyway. So, okay, so now this one should have, so radial length has both of them checked, and radial angle just has month checked. Okay. Has both of them checked, and radial angle just has week checked. This week length has year as well. Okay, and then I want to edit my table calc for my columns. Okay, region, month, table name. Okay, so at the level region, okay, so at the level year. Okay, so same thing here. Right, okay, so now we have one for each year. So 2020, so we could see it goes down when we get into the different weeks. This should be 2021, 2022. Okay, so now if I get rid of all the years, yeah. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. Now, how did I go about getting the labels in the middle here? Oh, I just labeled one of the marks. What did I do here? Yeah. Okay, so what I could probably do then, I'm just thinking if there's a way I can label like 00, but maybe I don't worry about that. Let's put pedestrians per day onto color, or we can even just put pedestrians per day onto color. Yeah, so the problem now is that we've now got 31 at the top here because we don't have 52. I don't think we have 52 weeks in this particular year. So 2009 only starts in 37. So we should probably, Let's make this discrete. We might need. I'm getting rid of 2009 because at the top it doesn't start at 0. So 2022. Yeah, so 2022 is off as well. Okay, so let's edit. Okay. All right, so there's that option. This is our radial weeks by year. But I think I'm going to go back to one of the other ones I created here. So quarter, year. Doesn't really matter. Okay, so I'm going to let's go back here. Let's duplicate. And I think what I want to do is I'm going to look at it by create custom date. Let's call this one month. Exact, let's see, month, date value. Okay, oops. Oh. Okay, and then let me move this to detail. This needs to go ever so slightly. Okay. Yeah, so it's interesting. So now you can see the impact of the pandemic, but the years aren't going in the right order. Oh, I've got the wrong month at the top. Duh. So this month here is the one that should be at the top. So let's try. Let me just try to. Just going to try to scoot this around. What the heck? Oh. Okay, there we go. Because this is May of 2009 is the start of the data set. So maybe what I could do is I could always show, and then I could put this on label like that. And then this would go to October of 2022. Okay, something like that. Okay, so I think I'm gonna just go with this. Let me try one more thing. So radial month. I'm just gonna keep playing around with this here. So I just need to make a note. So we've got this is for my which level are we looking at? This is our month level. So our parameters are 122.5. And then let's look at it by week. Okay, so now I'm going to change this to look at it by week. And then we had so let's turn the labels off. Actually, let's do the min and the max by week. Okay, that's fine. So now we need to shift this all the way around. So let's say size, let's make this as thin as it'll go. And so now our adjuster, let's just make it, 90. Okay, 10, 1. Okay, so now I need to rotate it 90 degrees. So this should probably be, 270? No, 90. So that goes there. So 180, 360. That's going to go there. Okay, so it should be about 540. Okay, so not quite here. So let's make it 530. Oh, look at that. It's hard to tell if that's right on the line or not. Okay. There we go. Okay, I can reset that. Oop. Okay, so that gives us all of the weeks. All right, so we get rid of that on detail. So what do you think of that instead? Yeah, I think it clearly shows the impact of COVID. It's very busy, but I kind of like the way it looks. So let me just do a bit of formatting now. So let me format the view. I want to get rid of my grid lines, get rid of my zero lines, and then get rid of my axis rulers. And now I can uncheck both of these. And now what I can do is I can play around with the inner and the outer. Who's calling? I don't know who's calling. Declined. Spam. Okay, so this now spreads the dots out. So if I make this 2, yes, let's make this 10. That goes the opposite way. We don't want to do that. So let's make this 2. Let's make this 4. Maybe 10. So that goes to the middle. I think I like them. If I make this 1, oops, no, it needs to be bigger than this one. So let's make this one 1. Make this one 2. Okay. Okay, I'm going to try something. So let me format this view, and I'm going to make it. I don't know if this is going to. I was thinking about putting the map of Melbourne in the back. Sorry, bug flying around. So this one. Where'd it go? Let's move this to the beginning. Okay. I'm going to set it to no background, and then I'm going to set my colors to go with that yellow palette that they have. How can I do a yellow palette? Do I have one? I don't have a yellow palette, so let me just choose something here. Okay. So for now, let's delete the phone layout. I'm just going to make it 800 by 800 just so it's square. And let's see, I'm going to float this one in. And then I want to get rid of my parameters, all that junk. Okay. Now what I was hoping to do was to bring in this one. So let's bring this in. Get rid of that. Hide the title. And then what I was hoping to do is maybe do something like this, where it's kind of in the center of the circle. Kind of like that. So if I rearrange these on the layout tab, what happens? So we get something like that. Yeah. Kind of looks neat. Dashboard layout. Let's see. So what if it was something like that? So let's see. So we want to get rid of the. And now we want to go to this sheet. So analysis, format, borders. And I need to get rid of my column dividers and my row dividers. Something like that. You can see the streets in the background, but I don't know. What do you think? Stick a comment in there and let me know what you think of this map. The other option is to take this map, and then if I go to layout, no, I want to. And I want to. How can I do this from here? I can't. If I do the map layers, yeah, see, I don't like that. Dark, yeah. Just wondering if, yeah, I wonder how else I could do this. What I don't like is how I have these streets in the background here. So I'm gonna try something. I have no idea if this is gonna work, but I'm gonna try to make a donut chart that I can. That'll have, I don't know if I can do a transparent middle though. Can we do that? Okay, let's try this. All right, so this is going to be really cool if this works out. So I'll do it this one. Well, that didn't work. Okay, so this one says to add it into my color palette. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to save this. This is Makeover Monday 2023. Melbourne. What did I call this session? Melbourne. Whatever. Good enough. Okay, so I'm going to close this, and then I'm going to open up my preferences file. Oops, wrong one. No, that's okay. And I want to go to the bottom, and I need to make it a regular color palette. Okay, so let's do this. And I always save backups of this, so I'm going to copy it to my Dropbox as well. Okay, so now if I open Tableau again, okay, so I don't need this one anymore. Now in theory, I should be able to now assign this transparent color. Oh, but that's not going to do me any good either. Shoot. No, this will work. Okay, so on this one, okay, so now let's make this a dual axis and synchronize. And then this one we want to make smaller. Okay, that's fine. So how do I want to do this? What I want to have is I want to have a black background, which I have through, but then I want to have something where I've got it, I want the map to show through. Okay, let me just try this again. Okay, let me just try this and see what happens. Oh, so stupid. That's okay. All right, so what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to kind of, I want to have a hole in something that the map can show through, but I don't quite know how to do that. So I'm trying to use a donut as like an empty hole in the middle. But I want the map to be... I just don't know how I can do that. Yeah, I don't think this is going to work. I might just have to leave it like that. The other option is to... Okay, so let me just show you what I'm thinking of. So my idea here is to have... How did that get over there? If I make this like as big as it'll go, that fills in that space. And then if I do this one and make this a bit bigger, that gets me closer. Right, so that's pretty close to what I'm looking for. But I want the map to show through this circle, but I can't do that because if I need my map in front of that, which then puts it in front of the donut. Okay, so that didn't work. I'm sure there's a way to do that. Let me just try switching this back then. Let's make this doesn't look too bad. Maybe what I do is, let me just undo, oh no, redo. Okay, I think this will work then. Okay, I think I like that. Now for my radial chart, my color intensity, say, I wonder if I should change to a different color yellow. Let's make it maybe a more mustardy kind of yellow. I don't think that's going to work though, because that's, yeah, that doesn't work. What's another? Okay, let me just pick a different yellow. I don't think I have any more in my color palette. So it's just lemon. That's going to be just as bright. Okay. And what did the one by month look like? I wonder if month is going to be better. I think the week by week one looks a bit cooler. Okay, so what I need to do now, let me just make this bigger. Well, first off, I'm going to save. And then I'm going to start floating in a couple other things that are going to be just text objects so I can put in like my credits and things. So let's make this 8 point. Maybe something like that, and then so now I need to come up with a clever title. What did I call this session? Okay, so let me put in another text object. Okay, I think, okay, so the last thing I need to do, so these we can't see, that's fine. It would be cool to be able to click on those, but I can't do that, but that's okay, I'll deal with that. If I go back to my map, okay. So now on my radial week, I need to clean up my tooltips here. So tooltip, don't need that. Okay. Yeah, this is actually quite artistic for me. I'm going to save that, and then I think I'm done. Yeah, I mean, this is like really strange for me. I usually do lots of KPI dashboards and things, but I'm glad I kind of thought of something different here today. So thank you very much for watching. Let's see. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that and learned something. If you did, please leave a comment and make sure you like the video. That way I know that you're enjoying the content I'm producing. If there's other things you'd like to see me do in Watch Me Viz, or if it's getting kind of stale or whatever, let me know. And what do you like? What do you not like? I love all the feedback. And if you haven't done it yet, don't forget to sign up for, let me just go back over here. Don't forget to sign up for my newsletter if you go to andykriebel.com. You can sign up for my newsletter. So every week, every Friday morning, I send out a newsletter that has a link to a video that hasn't been released yet. I usually put my Watch Me Viz up there, and then I'm creating some products that I'm selling, and I put exclusive discounts to those in that newsletter as well. So everything I create every week is in that newsletter. So please sign up. You can always unsubscribe if you want, and if you want to look at past newsletters, you can just go down here and look at the newsletters. Or if you want to see some of the products that have been created, you can go down there as well. And that's it for today. So thank you very much for, thank you very much for tuning in. And I look forward to hearing from you all soon. Talk to you later. Bye.